Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Maharaj K. Muthu on the stage, our distinguished moderator. Dr. Muthu, can I request you to grace the stage, please? Dr. Muthu, I request you to kindly grace the stage. Please, I welcome you to join us on the stage and moderate this session. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Muthu brings decades of experience in global governance, food systems policy, and environmental diplomacy. He has worked extensively with international institutions and is a passionate advocate of global partnerships for resilient and inclusive agriculture. Let's welcome Dr. Maharaj K. Muthu. We also are privileged to be joined by an esteemed and diverse panel of diplomats, advisors, and institutional leaders who bring rich perspectives from different parts of the world. To all our dignitaries, guests in the front, may I request everyone to kindly be seated, please? May I request everyone to kindly be seated? All those who need to make a conversation are kindly requested to step out. All our guests who have to make a conversation are requested to kindly step out so that we can go ahead with the proceedings of this session, please. Thank you. We welcome on stage Mr. Angela Mauricio, Agriculture Attaché, Embassy of Brazil. He is representing one of the world's leading agriculture economies and is at the forefront of promoting Brazil-India cooperation in agri-trade, sustainable farming, and innovation exchange. We welcome Mr. Mariano Beran, Agriculture Attaché, Embassy of Argentina. Argentina is a global agriculture powerhouse, and Mr. Behran plays a key role in fostering bilateral collaborations in crop science, agribusiness, and food security, and with India and the region. We like to invite Mr. Michel van Erkel, Agriculture Counselor, Embassy of the Netherlands. Netherlands, known for its cutting-edge agri-technology and precision farming, is well represented by Mr. Van Erkel, who is leading knowledge-sharing and innovation-driven partnerships between Dutch and Indian stakeholders. I invite Mr. Manoj Nardev Singh, Secretary General, African Asian Rural Development Organization, a strong proponent of South cooperation. Mr. Singh has championed inclusive rural development initiatives across Asia and Africa. His efforts focus on capacity building, knowledge exchange, and agriculture transformation in developing economies. I invite Mr. Scott Matthias, Managing Director, Saskatchewan, India Office, High Commission of Canada. It is a vital agri-export region in Canada, and Mr. Matthias is leading investment, technology, and academic exchange between Canada and India in areas like grains, pulses, and agri-tech. And we also have the privilege of inviting Dr. Purvi Mehta, Senior Advisor, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who is a globally renowned development professional. Dr. Mehta advises on agriculture innovations, smallholder resilience, and climate smart solutions. She plays a key role in aligning research, policy, and development efforts for impact-driven agriculture growth. And ladies and gentlemen, we now hand over to Dr. Muthu to kindly lead this important dialogue. Over to you, Dr. Muthu. Dr. Muthu, over to you, sir. Can you lead the discussions now and take over the discussions? And we would request you to close the session latest by 11:15. Sir, can we request you to close the session if possible by 11 o'clock? I'll remind you, sir.
Shall I come?
Yeah, over to you, sir, now. You can lead the discussions now. Over to you.
You want me to speak now? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, even though some of you are not in age. I'd like to submit my request that we now think about the title of our meeting, which is vis-a-vis the entire globe is devoted to eating food and living life. It's not only, if you don't mind, one or the other country. There are a few country people, representatives, whose countries I have visited and worked hard in my life. And it's between you and me. Ask me any question about various countries. It's only 128 countries that I have worked, traveled, and lived in my career. Just to introduce you, I started my work in a country which a Netherlands man will not get annoyed. Not directly Netherlands, in Suriname. You were owner of Suriname. And then when I went there to work, then Netherlands tried to say, we give you independence. The people walked on the road, especially the Indian origin people in Suriname, who were doing agriculture. Agriculture by Indian origin people. They walked through the streets and said, we don't want independence because this country is taking care of us very much. Please don't leave. Then the Netherlands Prime Minister came there, and I was that time, don't ask me representing what, this was my first duty abroad in my life, Suriname. And he begged people to accept becoming independent. And Surinamers can get Netherlands nationality if they travel. So if you go to Suriname, in Netherlands headquarters of the airplane, you see so many Indian-looking people. I'm just talking of how the countries come to Indian-looking people. And so I asked one day, about 10 years ago, there was a nice Indian-looking girl, and I liked them. And I said, what India? Where is India? I said, you're not in? No, I'm from Suriname. So I'm just talking about this. There has to be cooperation among North and South, East and West. We are unfortunately becoming very, very independent and far away. But the world is very, very small. And in terms of agriculture, once again, I can submit, I can never forget that, and he's there, the head of this organization. Everybody knows him. He's sitting there behind. He was sitting here. Our country was, a lot of people were dying from hunger many, many years ago. And then there is nobody from there here today. An American origin man from Mexico. And I'm sorry there's no Mexican here today. I have lived in Mexico for at least 1 year, and that man came to India and got rice and wheat developed. And India became self-reliant in food production. And now, long and short story, my submission is, this world looks small, but that man has been established the only global center for agriculture is now in America, his country, because he got Nobel Prize. unfortunately, and again I'm talking, since we are talking of today diplomacy and other things, agriculture sector people, very few have got Nobel laureates, are not recognized for the work they do to remove hunger from people and to give food for people. And that is the one man who worked here, and a lot of people thought who has nominated his was the Lady Prime Minister of India, on whose behalf he came here, but I don't think that is true. There was another man, our chairman likes Swaminathan, Swami, and he worked in another country. He had to run away because our Prime Minister threw him out. And now, long and short stories, I'm talking of bringing together diplomacy and equality and friendship among our countries. That's very, very necessary, and I can leave now this. I will very quickly say that we need to outline and understand coherence across policy, governance, and finance for tackling hunger, ensuring food security, promoting farmers' role. Since I am in India now, and since you are also in India, the largest number of the poorest of the poor in any country in the world continue to be in India, despite what they say we have done here. And even though in African countries, there were some Africans here this morning, but I can't see them here many. And African countries, the percentage of people going to bed hungry or angry, therefore, is larger percentage in African countries. But again, Netherlands man will get super annoyed. There was special hunger once because of no rainfall in northern Africa, since I'm talking of Africa, and whatever reason, there was a conference organized by the world and in Rome, and my proposal, there were a proposal from the Agriculture Department of FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, and others, but it was my proposal that Netherlands gave $100 million. So I had to use $100 million, and the Director General of FAO, who was a brilliant man also, got annoyed. He tried to tell them not to give him. They said, no. His proposal, go and read it. Because I wrote like this today, just while walking, I just wrote. His proposal is very clear. He said, without water, we can't do food production. So my project on food production was based on water, because without water, going to the agriculture areas, you cannot get food production. So that project continues to be done and has been delivered in Northern Africa. Please note that food and agriculture systems are pivotal to eliminate change, climate, because a lot of people talk climate change. It is very critical for climate change, adaptation, naturally, locally, and globally. Climate change, because indeed, diplomacy plays a crucial role in shaping global governance, fostering cooperation among countries to ensure food security, equitable trade, and sustainable development. In a world where agriculture challenges are increasingly transnational, there's a lot of agricultural challenges, increasingly transnational, ranging from climate change, water security, I gave just water, and rotable markets, etc. Diplomatic engagement is essential, therefore, for coordination solution, so that we can solve this. Ladies and gentlemen, only few ladies and many gentlemen. Allow me to talk for another 2 minutes, if you like. Okay, multilateral institutions can serve as key platforms. I can talk again of FAO, World Trade Organization, International Fund for Agriculture and Development, etc. A key platform where states negotiate agriculture policies, share innovations, and set standards. For instance, FAO, the older than United Nations. Nobody knows it was that good woman of the president of China, America. There's no American who recommended that we must create an agriculture organization because there was just done decision to create an United Nations. So, in fact, she moved so fast that a country nobody talks of now, we can talk again and again. Canada hosted she and they created FAO. About a week before UN was created, about a week in Canada. I'm afraid I have been there also, that place where it was started. Now, FAO recent institutions are four betters. You know, FAO is ruled by a Chinese man nowadays, Chinese Director General. And they have four betters, they declare. Better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. So all these are integrated. We must rely on collaborative efforts of international global member states, all member states, not only one north or south, not only India and any. We should all, whether it is Africa, India, Africa, Asia, Latin America, Caribbean, North America, Europe, we have to all rely on collaborative efforts of international global member states to implement holistic and inclusive agricultural strategy. If you have a question about the word holistic, I am the inventor of the word holistic, and I have received 100 pounds when I allowed the Oxford English Dictionary people to install it. Nowadays, everybody is using the word holistic. So we have to deal with agriculture and across the countries. That's why it's holistic, whether it's north or south. Holistic means, okay, it doesn't matter. It was one page I had written the description of word holistic. And holism, anyway, eventually agricultural diplomacy is not limited to governments alone. You know, there are government representatives here. It's not only the governments alone. Civil society, farmers' organizations, private companies, and research institutions are increasingly engaged in shaping agriculture agenda across countries, north and south, east and west. Diplomacy thus becomes a channel for inclusive decision-making and diverse voices for shaping future food and agriculture systems. Ladies and gentlemen, I have noted, while it was in car from here, but I can support and serve you any more ideas, but thank you very much. I have met also very bright people sitting on this seat. There's only one Indian lady, she has been working for food and agriculture a long time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can you invite others? You would like to invite others? You would like to invite other speakers?
You would like to?
You would like to invite, since you're chairing this session?
Yes, I'm cheering, we are cheering.
Yeah.
And now they will speak. Each of them should be invited to speak. I want to hear them. And then I want to hit them all. Okay. Not too much. Not too much. Not too much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, after those wonderful opening remarks by our session moderator, I would like to invite Agriculture Attaché from Embassy of Brazil, Mr. Angelo Mauricio. He would like to say a few words. I would request all our eminent panelists, we have about 4 to 5 minutes for each one of you to address.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Maharaj, my friends here at the dais. It's indeed a pleasure to be here again. I was commenting with Scott here that it's my fourth year in India, and since I arrived, I've been actively attending to all the conclave. So it's a pleasure to be here again. So thank you very much for this opportunity, for this invitation. On my way today to this conclave this morning, I came across this statement. There are more people alive today than have ever died. There are more people alive today than have ever died. Of course, this is not true. This is, it's most likely to be a misconception based on the fact that there was, a huge increase in the population in the last centuries. But anyway, it's unlikely to be true. But it did prompt me a valuable reflection, actually, especially because I live in India, which is the biggest country in terms of population. With roughly 8 billion people living in the world today, I was thinking that the biggest question is not how many we are, but how do we feed everyone in a sustainable, equitable, and also nutritious way, because this is really the biggest question, and it leads me to the first of the three dimensions that I'd like to point out today, to highlight today. The first one would be the interdependence in food production. To feed the world, it's a challenge that no single country can really meet. No one has enough resources to deliver everything which is needed. There should be a flow of goods, a flow of people, a flow of ideas. There should be exchange of goods, exchange of knowledge, exchange of experiences. And above all, there should be cooperation. There should be cooperation, because no one can face this challenge alone. There are simply not enough resources. If you look into a single community, a single group of people, a single association, or even a single country, there should be cooperation. There should be exchange of resources and goods and of course good ideas. And this leads me to the second dimension that I wanted to highlight today, which is fair trade. No matter if you have cooperation, if there is no fair trade, this exchange cannot take place. So there is a need for us to reflect upon the status, the stage that we are facing today in terms of fair trade. There should be a trade which is based on transparent and just practices, and there should not be, unnecessary barriers to the trade. Otherwise, there will be no opportunity for us to take advantage of this, exchange of goods, exchange of things, exchange of resources, and there is no chance for us to properly collaborate if the fair trade is not there. More than free trade, I guess we need fair trade as well. And food security has everything to do, or a great deal to do, with fair trade. So this is the second dimension that I would like to highlight today. And the last one is innovation and the limits of prudence, which is a myth, actually. Big rivers, big forests, big pieces of land, big properties, big size of continental dimension of the country. So this is a myth, because the resources are limited wherever you are in the world. So the production is also, to some extent, limited to this, availability of resources, availability of water, availability of land, or whatever. The only thing that I guess it's unlimited and it's limitless is our ability to to innovate, to come with innovation. So agriculture, in order to meet these demands, needs to take advantage of this ability of all of us to innovate and to creatively come with solutions for old problems. Because if we don't make agriculture walk hand by hand with innovation, research and development, we will reach very soon a place where there is not enough production of food in the world to feed everyone. So we need to invest heavily in research, development, and innovation. This is very much needed because this is something that's the only way to enhance production, productivity, and to produce more and better with less and less. Every year, each year we are seeing that we are having less and less, but the demands are being bigger and bigger. So we need to really to work from the government. I come from the government, actually. So from the government perspective, I really believe, we truly believe in Brazil that we need to heavily invest in research, development, and innovation. And India is doing a great job in this regard. Brazil is also doing, and we are all here. We have at least 5 countries here represented, and we have our own strengths, and we are doing good in this, but we need to, give hands to each other and allow this, innovation to take place. Because, as I said, that's the only unlimited resource that we have, our ideas, our creativity. So, having said that, I guess that there is a long road ahead. I was just talking to Manisha before, and there is a long road ahead, but I think we should bravely take this road because it leads to the only solution possible, which is, feeding everyone who needs. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Angelo is representing one of the world's leading agriculture economies and is at the forefront of promoting Brazil-India cooperation in agri-trade, sustainable farming, and innovation exchanges. And now next, I would like to invite Mr. Mariano Beirán, who is the Agriculture Attaché, Embassy of Argentina. Argentina is a global agriculture powerhouse, and Mr. Beirán plays a key role in fostering bilateral collaborations in crop science, agribusiness, and food security with India and the region. So I would now hand over to you, sir.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation for Agriculture Today. Once again, this is not my first participation in this event. I have been living here for 6 years already. And it's a really honor to be participating with all these panelists. We have been sharing many years working together in the field of Delhi and the government authorities and offices, and it has been a really pleasure to work together with you guys. So I will take some words from Angelo. Since we are coming from the same region, I will take 3 words that for me are very important. One is the concept of self-sufficient. The other is going to be the concept of sustainable system and holistic systems. And the other one is R&D. And I think these 3 concepts are very related. First, regarding self-sufficient, we have been hearing a lot about the concept of self-sufficient, and Angelo mentioned something that is also very important. These have a price. I am not talking about economy, I'm talking about from the environment perspective. Any country can be self-sufficient in every crop. That is impossible. You have different seasons. You cannot grow blueberries the entire year in India. If the customers want to eat, I'm talking blueberry because our other colleague from Peru is sitting there, so I remember, and I'm going to use this case. The demand of blueberries in India are peaking. But how, and also from the Netherlands are coming blueberries. How the customers and consumers from India are going to consume blueberries if they want to eat every year. So self-sufficient is a concept important for some crops, but there are some other crops and some other products that is impossible to be self-sufficient because the demand is who will guide us what they want to eat, how, when they want to eat. That is the first thing. And this, of course, have a cost. Because if our goal is to be self-sufficient, and that is it, this will have a cost. And I'm talking about the use of water, the use of fertilizers. If we want to increase the yield production, we are going to need to use more water, we are going to need to use more fertilizers, and these have an impact in the environment, in the soil. India has been practicing agriculture for 4,500 years. So the adoption of zero-till technology, like in Argentina and Brazil, is almost 95% is minimum here in India. They have been tilling the soil for 4,500 years, and these have an impact in the soil. It's an ecosystem, and every time that you put the soil, for every season you are impacting in the soil and the ecosystem in the soil. I'm talking from the agricultural perspective. So there is an impact to be self-sufficient. There is a cost. Then sustainable systems and holistic systems. This is very important because we have to think how we develop our agriculture and our agricultural business from a sustainable system, from a sustainable perspective. How our business is going to impact from the social, from the economy, and from the environment impact. And this is very difficult, you know, because sometimes the price is who mounts a role, sometimes the environment is who mounts a role, and or sometimes it's social. So this is the challenge, not for only for India, Argentina, for the entire agriculture in the world. We have to think more about sustainable system of agriculture. And then the R&D and research. R&D and research had to be, from my point of view, R&D, they had to be private, very involved in R&D and research, but also government. Why government? Private always are looking for, because it's how it is, private businessmen are looking profit. So they are going to dedicate research and R&D in the things that will get some profit. But sometimes, and most of the time, biodiversity of the systems is not profitable. Who is going to invest in systems that are not profitable but keeps the biodiversity of the agriculture in the world? So that is a key role of the government. And of course, if the government decide that only the research has to be taken by the private sector, it's fine. But the government have to also dedicate, they have to have the resources to investigate, to keep the biodiversity of the agriculture in the world. Otherwise, we are going to start losing more and more biodiversity in the agriculture in the world. Just that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the privilege of having on the dais Mr. Michel van Urkel, the Agriculture Councillor, Embassy of the Netherlands. The Netherlands, known for its cutting-edge agri-technology and precision farming, is well represented here by Mr. van Urkel, who is a leading knowledge-sharing and innovation-driven partnerships between Dutch and the Indian stakeholders. And may I now invite you, sir, to kindly share your perspective.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm not sure whether the microphone is working, but I think without I will also be portable. Works. Right. I'll have a slightly different approach, talking about the role of diplomacy in agriculture, the role of agricultural councillors. So what are we actually doing? And I would like to start actually with a remark towards Dr. Moethal. I'm never annoyed, never. I mean, in whatever context you mention the Netherlands, it means another euro in the till of the Netherlands. So I'm always happy for the promotion. Thank you for that. I'll tell you,
often when I get Dutch businessmen or NGOs visiting the embassy, they go, wow, you do all this stuff, agriculture, economy, water, etc., etc. I thought just only I have to come here if my Indian wife needs a visa or I lose my passport. But no, we embassy do actually much, much more than the visa stuff. So please always remember that. Now, I'm lucky, I'm part of one of the strongest agricultural networks in the world. The Netherlands has one of the biggest. We cover about 40 countries, which is quite amazing, but quite logical, being still the second agricultural exporter in the world after the US, where, to be honest, we are less and less proud of. When you just now said the blueberries, bringing blueberries from the Netherlands to India, to be honest, ridiculous. They should be produced here in India. And then, of course, preferably with Dutch knowledge, technology, and seeds. That's fine with me, but not bring them all over the world from the Netherlands to India. So that's just one remark. Our role is connecting knowledge with business, with government, with NGOs, the society. Our knowledge is reporting to our headquarters, but also explaining Dutch policy, EU policy to Indian government. It is indeed about finding good solutions globally. I would use the word holistic with your copyrights, of course, to be mentioned here, but it is a holistic approach. It's looking all over the world for good solutions. And I'm going to mention just one example. And looking at the panel composition, I came up yesterday with one example that takes place mainly in South America. It's about non-tillage farming. Non-tillage farming is extremely important if we talk about climate, improving the soil. Now if you then look at Latin America, as my colleagues actually in Argentina and in Brazil did, they said, hey, Netherlands, come over and come and have a look what they are doing here. So it's also our role to show what they're doing. And just to continue a little bit on non-tillage farming, I just checked last night. Non-tillage farming, and to be honest, I've never heard about it here in India, but just to give you some examples, 80% of the farmers in Argentina have adopted non-tillage farming, reducing soil erosion by 80%, cost reduction of more than 50%, and an increase of farmers' income. Brazil, 50% adopted it. Usage of non-till resulted in reduction of soil erosion by 97%, higher farm productivity and income increase by 57% 5 years after starting non-tillage farming. I remember the guru Sadhguru traveling all over Europe on his motorbicycle. He was talking about soil. Well, here are the solutions. In India, myself, I just visited Hyderabad. I visited a company called Pratishta Group. And they're using fermentation to produce, fermentation technology to produce, what's it called again? Biofertilizers. I think it's quite innovative. It's not rocket science, but it is innovative. And they are looking now also to enter the European market, which I think is fantastic. I'm reporting about this back to the Netherlands. We are creating indeed, it's also the role that we have, creating cooperation. We are creating, as the Joint Secretary Sahu earlier said, creating a seed secretariat where not only the Dutch seed companies, which are all here present in India, but also the Indian companies, we're talking with Japanese companies, French companies, all seed companies will benefit from a further development of the seed infrastructure, the seed institutions here in India. We're working with the Ministry of Agriculture and the Asian Development Bank on a clean plant program, which will give access for the farmers, for India, to highest quality plant material, starting material, which will be so extremely necessary in the future for farmers to adapt or possibly even mitigate climate change. Just a few examples on how diplomacy works. Sometimes you think, what are these guys doing except for receiving a good salary? Sure, but we do much more. We have a role to play in order to make things happen like Angelo and Mariano were saying here. So thank you for this. Thank you for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, next I would like to invite Mr. Scott Matthias. He is the Managing Director, Saskatchewan, India Office, High Commission of Canada, which is a vital agri-export region in Canada. And Mr. Matthias is leading investment technology and academic exchanges between Canada and India in areas like grains, pulses, and agri-tech. And over to you, sir, to kindly share your perspectives on the topic.
Terrific. Well, good morning. When I woke up this morning, I never thought I'd be sharing the stage with the esteemed inventor of the term holistic. Kya baat hai, hai na? Tremendous. So let me provide a bit of background in terms of the province of Saskatchewan and the country of Canada. Everybody knows who Brazil is. Everybody knows who the Netherlands are. Everybody knows who Argentina is. But I bet there's somebody in the room who has no idea what Saskatchewan is and why Saskatchewan. That's terrific. Angelo's just saying he's been there, which is great. So there's somebody in the room, I'm sure, who has no idea what Saskatchewan is. So let me start there. Saskatchewan is a province in the center of Canada, and we've had a dedicated presence here in India since 2022, based at the High Commission of Canada. Saskatchewan is India's largest agricultural trading partner in Canada, by far the largest. Saskatchewan alone accounts for over $1 billion worth of exports to India in lentils and peas alone, over $500 million of export to India in potash, which is essential for Indian farming. But the India-Saskatchewan relationship is quite interesting, and as many of you have followed the Canada-India challenges in the last 2 years, it bears noting that the Saskatchewan-India relationship has special place. So in the fall of 2023, as you know, a number of Canadian diplomats unfortunately left India. I was one of them, but due to the primacy of the India-Saskatchewan relationship, the central government of India personally invited me to come back because of our agricultural partnership being so critical for the nutritional security of India. So I want to frame that for you to give you a sense of why this small province in the center of Canada has such a dedicated placeholder in India and why on the stage today at a national level. So I hope that helps give some sense of why I'm here. In terms of Saskatchewan itself, it represents 40% of Canada's farmland. And I'm so pleased that zero tillage came up because Saskatchewan, although it's implemented in many places, Saskatchewan is the origin of commercial scale zero-till farming practices, which we all agree represent tremendous opportunity for the country of India, particularly as it relates to the burning and the effects of that of fields that we all experience in the north. And on that one point, I would reference a specific issue related to policy and innovation in India. So one of my primary roles is to connect our global leading ag tech companies to Indian partners and to work with Indian farmers. One of our primary partners in India is Northern Farmers Mega FPO, representing 35,000 farmers. And we work with them across the entire value stream of their operations to help improve farmer efficiency, which is one of the core goals of the Indian government across the nation, is how to put more rupees in the Indian farmer's pocket, how to improve efficiency and how to improve outcomes and reduce loss. In one instance, one of our Saskatchewan companies brought zero-tillage equipment technology to India. That equipment was customized in partnership with Northern Farmers Mega FPO and eventually was entered into partnership with a major Indian farm equipment manufacturer. Sadly, as a result of some of the policy issues that face the implementation of new technologies in India, that particular piece of equipment, which has been shown to demonstrate a 30% yield for farmers, is now being manufactured in India by an Indian company, but shipped overseas because it's cheaper for that company to manufacture here and export than make it available to Indian farmers. This is a policy issue that needs to be given different consideration and significant consideration, not only because that technology improves yield for farmers, but it also addresses major environmental concerns that are rampant across North India, and it's a simple solution. It's an easy thing for us to address collectively. It's a terrific example of diplomacy and international collaboration, and yet still there are barriers, which are surmountable. We can address those, and I think together it's worth putting our heads together and coming up with better ways to disseminate new technology in accessible ways to the Indian farmer. This is really why we're all here, is to bring the best of our nations together to help support the Indian farmer achieve better outcomes. So that's one of our primary objectives, and that's why I'm really here on the stage today, is to talk about the Saskatchewan technology, the Saskatchewan ecosystem and infrastructure, and how that can support the Indian farmer at the grassroots. That's our primary objective here today. So, quick opening comments, but I hope that gives some framing around who Saskatchewan is and why we're here today. Thank you.
Okay, Canada. Well done, Canada.
And ladies and gentlemen, finally we have the privilege of inviting Dr. Purvi Mehta, who is a senior advisor, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. A globally renowned development professional, Dr. Mehta advises on agricultural innovations, smallholder resilience, and climate smart solutions. She plays a key role in aligning research, policy, and development efforts for impact-driven agricultural growth. So over to you, ma'am, to kindly share your point of view.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Dr. Khan, ICFA, for yet another year of this forum, really very important. I was intrigued by this session especially. I think bringing in international people on the stage and talking about international cooperation is also, in a way, showing how agriculture in India has evolved. Because I don't think when we were talking about the beginning of Green Revolution, I don't think when we were talking only about importing food from which country and from where, and especially just a crop like wheat, we could do this kind of a session. So I think this itself is a celebration of where India has arrived and the need for all of us as the world to be united together in the kind of agriculture problems and the agriculture opportunities that we talk about. I think it's too late now as a world to think about whether or not we need international cooperation. I think agriculture is a commodity which is bringing much more interdependence between the world than any other commodity in the world. There is no trade in the world, whether it is IT or textile or any of that, including oil and natural gases, where countries are so interdependent. It is agriculture that keeps countries very interdependent. My pet thing often to say is, if one orders a regular US pizza, like from a large franchise company like Domino's or Pizza Hut or that sort of thing, not a specialty pizza, but a regular pizza in the US, it has produced from at least 37 countries. It just shows the interdependence between the world. And interestingly, if one orders a burger in Uganda, so I'm not only talking about the US, if one orders a burger from, again, a standardized company in Uganda, it has produced from at least 28 countries. So the dependence and the interdependence of the world is why this type of a session where we all come together is very important. But I think there are two fundamental things where, bringing in international cooperation and tapping into the international opportunities, because I think we need to go slightly beyond only talking about challenges of agriculture. I think it's also about opportunities and how we all tap into it together as various countries, right? Two major areas. One, which Angelo, you spoke about, Michael, you spoke about, is about the knowledge sharing part, right? It's very different from what it used to be in 60s and 70s, where countries' capacities to absorb various technologies were very, very different. A private sector company, for example, which would set up an operation in the US, for example, will have a completely different set of products and completely a different set of approach when they set up a company in the US, for example, because the capacities of the countries were different. That, very interestingly, is equal. Digital tools, for example, which is one of the biggest thing to absorb technologies, for example, there is not a huge difference from between in terms of the access to digital technology by rural people in a country like the Netherlands, which technologically is way ahead, than a country like Bangladesh or a country like India. I think on an average, all of these countries have about now 85 to 90% access to digital technology. So the tools that we have now are, there is a lot of equity in that, and therefore I think we can all now take a common approach. And one learns this from private sector. Manisha, you would be very interested to hear over 70% of the large private sector companies in the world in space of agriculture, over 70% of those have operations in more than 15 countries. So companies are not country by country by country, they are multinational, and most of them are, right? Even in the small scale space, in the first session, somebody was talking about India having over 3,000 small-scale companies that were registered in the space of agriculture. Over 1,600 small-scale startup companies in agriculture that were registered in India have registered themselves not as an Indian company, but an Indian company who will have products going outside India also. So the ambitions are increasing, and the ambitions are increasing also because a large number of the international opportunities in terms of course, trade is increasing, but a lot of and all of the panelists spoke about climate. Climate is not just an ecological problem, it is also an economic opportunity. Right? And if one, for example, if one wants to, 1.5 degrees higher temperature, if the maize production is going down by 7%, yes, it is a challenge, but then replacing that with newer varieties of thermostable maize, for example, replacing it with not maize, but a crop that will withstand that 1 point higher, is a huge business opportunity, right? And so the estimate in climate adaptation world by the private sector is that it is a 1.3 trillion economy. Adaptation to climate is a huge economic growth, and there's where again international cooperation, companies coming together, countries coming together is going to be very important. So at the end, I'd like to say that as we look in front of us, as the world is warming, as the world is crowding, somebody was talking about a large number of people now, and as the world is changing, I think international cooperation is not a choice anymore. It's a great opportunity and a necessity. So coming together is something that's a very wise business proposition.
Thank you very much indeed, ma'am. So ladies and gentlemen, we have exactly 5 minutes. If there are any questions for any of our panelists, you may kindly raise hands. Yeah, ma'am.
I just have one thing. Everybody's spoken about international and international cooperation for that matter. With the kind of tariffs that we're looking at right now, if anybody wants to say that, how do you envision going forward with that?
Any one of you who would like to answer that?
I need to. Yeah. Well, this is true that this is something that as I said, that's why I mentioned this fair trade and the necessity to cope with just and transparent measures actually for allowing the trade to take place. So tariffs is something that needs to be addressed, and it's something that is impeding, actually, the way that it's being handled right now. It's impeding this ability of the countries to exchange not only goods, but also to exchange resources. So we are very much concerned about the way things are going. The Brazilian government is really fostering a different approach to cope with this trade. There was some numerous discussions in BRICS, in G20, you know, in these multilateral forums. So that's something that I want to highlight. The only way to deal with this, or not the only way, but an important way to deal with this is to praise and to recognize the importance of the multilateralism in this whole world, and the rules that this multilateral organization can put in place in order to ensure that there is a fair trade going on right now. So this is something that we really wanted to highlight, the importance of the multilateralism in this, which is a kind of a, we are swimming in the opposite flow right now, but I think we should consider and think about how important it is to reinforce this multilateralism in a world where right now we are doing exactly the opposite.
If you allow me just a small remark, it's also interesting, again, the interconnectivity. I can't speak about the trade because it's something of the EU. It's not the Netherlands alone. It's the EU here talking with the US. I'm starting to talk like Trump, I think. I have to be careful there. But anyhow, I was just thinking how this will affect actually also the trade tariffs that affect the Netherlands will actually affect also India. Just to give you an example, you're almost there, I understand, for a light agreement with the US. Well, your steel production is based also in the Netherlands. Tata Steel in the Netherlands is one of the most modern companies, actually delivering to the automobile industry in the US. They will be strongly affected on the tariffs that will be imposed on the EU. So India will be indirectly affected. This has a huge rippling effect all over yeah, it's all interconnected. Scott.
So just one sort of minor comment on that. For our jurisdiction, obviously we're subnational. We have 1.4 million residents, but we have $20 billion of agricultural export alone, just in agricultural commodities. So we're heavily reliant on the international export game, and the tariffs are quite upsetting. But I like to think about this from maybe a bit of a different perspective. So what does water do when it impacts an obstacle? It doesn't stop, maybe for a moment while it gathers steam, but it finds a new path. And I think these challenges represent an opportunity for us to find new ways, and not just to innovate on the technology side, but to innovate in our diplomacy and innovate in our policy infrastructure and how we're creating new like-minded national interests that are aligned. And particularly for us in Canada and in the province of Saskatchewan, alignment with India as it relates to export trade, not just of goods, but also services and technologies and ideas. It's critical for the survival of both of our nations, and it's time for both of our nations to set that as the primacy, like the important relationship to strive for. At the same time, we've all got to deal with the obvious upsetting issue in the room, but we shouldn't let that overcome our efforts. We should really put the majority of our efforts into finding new paths together.
I think just one very quick perspective on that also from an agriculture perspective, it is not just the end result or the produce, but it is also the cost of production in agriculture, which one has to be very, very concerned about, because anyway, the profit margin of cost of production and what that produce realizes in the market is very little, which means the profitability in farming is really at a very, very narrow margin. And therefore, cost of produce or cost of production, if it goes down or goes up because of any of this, which can be because of the fertilizer or any agro input related tariff, but at the same time, some of the indirect things like, for example, transport. Vehicle costs going up, for example, direct impact on cost of production in agriculture. So from both ways, one will have to be very, very cognizant and careful, because otherwise, I think if farming's profitability goes further down, then it is a major threat.
Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for that wonderful session and discussions we had. And I would now like to invite Ms. Rajni Shaleen Chopra to kindly do the honors of presenting a token of gratitude to all our eminent panelists. We would like to honor our distinguished moderator, Dr. Maharaj K. Muthu. Thank you very much indeed, sir, for being here with us today. We present to Mr. Angelo Mauricio, Agriculture Attaché, Embassy of Brazil. We present to Mr. Mariano Beran, Agriculture Attaché, Embassy of Argentina. To Mr. Michel van Erkel, Agriculture Counselor, Netherlands. To Mr. Scott Matthias, Managing Director, Saskatchewan, India Office, High Commission of Canada. And very true, I think at least I had never heard of Saskatchewan.
Canada is very important.
And to Dr. Purvi Mehta, Senior Advisor, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Canada is better than USA. Do you agree? Canada produces so much food. Okay, madam. You should go to Brazil if you want to learn. Brazil is worth it. We have much to learn.
Thank you, Dr. Mehta, for all those knowledge sharing we had from you in this session. And I would request all our panelists to kindly come together for a group photograph, please. And ladies and gentlemen, I would request everybody else to kindly remain seated as we are straight away moving ahead with the proceedings of session 2 of this day. And ladies and gentlemen, we once again take this opportunity to thank all our eminent panelists for sparing their time and being here with us. Thank you to each one of you.